Hello viewers, it is Bazooka Bolos here, and today we are back with another video. And today, I'm going to be showing you guys my old city. Most of you guys probably remember this old city if you came to my channel before August of this year. This is my old city that I've been working on for 2 years before I restarted it to make it look better. So anyways, let's get into it, shall we? Toward this big old city. So here we have the spawn park, which is pretty simple. We have the United States flag, and this is not an India flag. This is the custom designed Bazooka City flag for back then. We got a cool little park with this little thing in the middle. There were supposed to be invisible item frames, but that pack got fucked, so yeah. We got a little hangout area and another hangout kind of space with benches and stuff. We got some park lights, we got a couple different tree designs. Overall, pretty cool. And here is the very first church on Bazooka City. This was made by BK way back before he got really good at building. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is still good, but he's a lot better at building today, as this was made roughly 2 years ago. And it has a interior as well, which I made the interior. And I think it looks fairly nice. We got some seating on the second floor and some seating along here, and a big cross to represent Christianity. And then there's this book, Cheese is Life. Another cool thing is there was actually access to the top tower. This is not the top tower, but there is another. But this is kind of the third floor. There's like a couple seats. It overlooks the church, but it continues going up. It just keeps going up the tower. This was meant to be closed off, but for some reason it wasn't. And now the staircase gets more narrow. Oh, I accidentally just griefed my own church, but whatever. This is the top tower of the church. You can see the suburbs from here. And if you throw your window distance like way up, you can actually see the whole skyline from this window. But I only have my window distance on 40, so this video won't be overly laggy. Cause I know you guys probably don't want to watch a laggy video. It wouldn't be a good experience, so yeah. I am touring all of the interiors, by the way, so yeah. Oh yeah, there's also access to the top floor seating, which is pretty cool. There's also side doors as well. Let's look around here and this is the historic area. As far as like, this is like the townhouse like historic area. This was the historic downtown way back before the city expanded over the river and we made that downtown over there, which we'll check out later. There's a lot of buildings. A lot of buildings have interiors, so this part of the video might be a little bit more laggy than others because of all the interiors that are detailed. Here we have a little store. It's a pretty nice little store. Nothing really too much to it. The upstairs, it's only the second floor that's actually furnished. And then there's these two buildings, which were, these three are pretty old builds, but they're still really good. They're in the new city. And here we got a coffee shop, which was made by one of the best people on the channel. Gives me a bunch of money on streams. Bacon Lover, shout out to him. He made this coffee shop. And then someone made this little store. Pretty simple. Then over here, we got this building. The top floors are actually furnished. And then we got the Ginger and Wild Birch store. With different categories of books like kids books, non-fiction, and other stuff like that. And then on this side we have a record store. Got a little record store here with the different music discs, and then we got a little closet kind of room. And then there's this, which is an unnamed restaurant. Still pretty cool though. And we got the Mr. Wazzy Wazzy Laundromat by Hercules and Bacon. Again, Bacon Lover, shout out to him. We got this kind of laundromat. And then we have the upstairs. And then HDMI Node made the inside of this house. And it honestly doesn't look too bad. It's a cool little interior. And then you got the bathroom here. And then this is meant to be like a little loft area for like a bed. Here at the Donovan Mattress Store. They claim to be the best in Bazooka City. And then we got stairs to the upper floors, which I don't think are furnished. And then there's like main kind of storage room for extra stock. Here we have the Seth's Castle. Got the kitchen here, and we got this room here. Pretty cool. And we got Block Records, which hasn't been completely finished, but it's a really cool looking building. This is one of the older buildings I've made, and it still looks really good. Back in 2023. A lot of these builds were from 2023. Then over here, we have Robinson's Diner. They had a collab with Ass Pizza, which is another restaurant chain we'll see later in the video. We got a little bar area with a comically tall bar. Like, they're not usually that tall. And I like how this townhouse kind of gives off the vibes of a barn, kind of, but like not really. And then along this we have an apartment building which is not finished. The texturing on the real build isn't that bad, but my resource packs make this pillowed log look more gray than white. So if you're not using my resource pack, the texturing is gonna be a bit different. It's gonna look more realistic. And then there's these four buildings. They have full interiors but aren't furnished. We have this park, pretty old park in Bazooka City. I plan on bringing it back if I can. And then we got Sack breaking the backboard, because that's what he likes to do. Again, these item frames were supposed to be invisible, but that resource pack kinda got fucked, so yeah. We got plenty of racks for bicycles, plenty of lights so you can see at night, tennis. You got public restrooms for both men and women. You got a statue here. It was supposed to be a guy holding like a sword, but it doesn't look that good. And here we got a little pavilion where you can hang out and stuff. And then you got a little pathway that goes around. And that basically concludes that park. And then we got one more row of townhouses over here. None of them except for Bazooka Bank have an interior yet. And here, yeah, we got like the first floor is interiorized, but not like the other floors upstairs. There's a lot less like interiorized buildings as you go farther up the city. We had like full power line. We had like a bunch of power lines running around the city too, but they look kind of sloppy compared to the ones that are here now. Here we got a gas station built by JR96. I like this one. This one's in the current city. The interior is finished as well. Oh. But yeah, there's like a little place like your coffee machines, your ice cream, your snacks and drinks and other stuff from this gas station. In here we got an apartment building. I had a really cool Bazooka City mural on the side of this building, but it kinda got griefed by someone, so it's now non-existent. The front of this looks really nice though. I might bring this back in some form. Yeah, I might bring this back to Bazooka City in like some way. And this apartment building has its own public pool, plus a place to dive, and obviously multiple ladders so you can get up from the pool. And then this little hangout areas and this. There's also a memorial park right down here that's beside the water. We got some cool sips and bridges that clearly aren't tall enough to fit said sips because someone was on crack while making that bridge. Probably. But yeah, here we got a memorial park. Monument to the northeastern nearest blizzard of 1978, which was an actual event. Over here we got a row of apartment buildings. Some of these have interiors. We'll look through all of them. All of the ones that do have interiors. I had a build competition on who can make the best interior for these apartments, kind of residential housing. This one was made by, I believe, Oliver. I'm not 100% sure. I kind of forgot who made this one. But it looks pretty nice. I like it. And for some reason there's British flags everywhere. Oh wait, no, it wasn't made by Oliver. It was made by Delta 62. He used to build here, but not anymore. He kinda got banned for being a bad boy, so yeah, that's that. And then I4T, who... That's Trius' old name, so... He's pretty good. We got a kind of open concept floor plan with this. We got the kitchen, plus like the dining room and the living room all in one. Then you have staircase that goes up. You have some of your upstairs bathrooms and bedrooms. They're pretty simple, but they did the job done. And then if you go up here, there's an attic which has like which was kind of repurposed into a living space, so we got like a couch. And then you got some books and stuff like that. And then there's an empty space for like a studio or something. And then there's storage. There's this was Oliver's interior. He has a job, so like he couldn't really complete this interior. He had 2 weeks to do it, so well I think the competition was 2 weeks. I don't completely remember. It was either 1 or 2. The upstairs not yet complete. The attic's completely empty. And then here we got, there's this one, made by some random guy. I don't remember his name, he doesn't play anymore, but, oh yeah, Vital Clamp, or something, that was his name. It kinda gives off like medieval vibes though. And then I built this for that competition, had like the best one. I cooked in this one really hard. We had dining room, some shelves on the stairs, living room or fireplace. We got the kitchen, and then here we got the bathroom. And then now we go upstairs onto the 2nd floor. You got 2 bedrooms in the bathroom. So you got this bedroom here, which is just regular bedroom, and that's the master bedroom. This is kind of like a gaming room. I had like paintings of like a computer there, but they got killed. There's a bathroom which looks pretty nice, and then over here we have a kid's bedroom. Here's like an unfinished part of the attic, and this is for like your furnace, your hot water heater and stuff like that, plus storage, because these have no basements. And then there's another bedroom which is kind of a guest bedroom. Alright, it's time for the next one. We got this one. There's no name on it or anything. And we got this one by Devin. We got living room. We got a comically large kitchen, which probably had like which has a dining space. And then we got some staircase with railings that don't at all match. Those are supposed to go down like that. There's this kind of area. I don't know what it is. Bedroom. And then there's the bathroom that hooks up to it, which is also a comically big bathroom. And up here, we got the third floor, which is the attic. And then there's this one which was started, but I forgot who built this one, but they did make an interior. They kind of messed it up though, cause the window heights don't match up with the floors. Oh, here we got JR96. He built this. Well, we got kitchen, dining room, got a living room, and that's a bathroom. There's this really cool like green wallpaper design, which I like. We got a bedroom out here with a chandelier. We got a hallway with another chandelier. Bathroom, and then bedroom. This house has a lot of chandeliers. Pretty much every room has a chandelier. And then there's one more house. I have to sneak just to get in. I also don't remember who built this one, but it looks really nice. But the upper floors were not completed. But the first floor is really nice. And now there's this road, which is really all there is going down here is just copy and paste townhouses that JJ built like two years ago. And then we got embassy buildings, which involves Pete Haven, who is still with us. There is Cannonsburg, which was renamed, but it still exists. And then there's Philog City Embassy, which is not allied with Bazooka City anymore for undisclosed reasons, but that's a pretty cool city too. Which I think was also restarted, like not too long ago. There's a little bit of greenery here, because all cities need greenery to make them feel more alive. And then there's these traffic lights, which there were a variety of traffic light designs for this old city. This city was kind of like rust and thrown together, so like the details weren't the best. We got some other townhouses, which some of them had interiors, but most of the ones on the street didn't. We have a little store here with these corner kind of doors. Oh, there's all these ones along here, which don't have interiors. There's this which goes up to like the apartments above. And then there's some heads here from Boulder Ripper. Boulder Ripper was one of the most famous and unforgiving criminals in Bazooka City. You'll see him in quite a few places, and he still hasn't been caught by the police yet. There's a library here. We have Retro Jake's video game shop with stuff like PlayStation's, Xbox. We had Nintendo stuff. Then we got different games. like Mario, NBA 2K, God of War, etc. City Skylines. A lot of cool stuff. And then up here, the upper floors of most of these townhouses have not yet been finished. It's mainly just the lower floors, the first floor, that was really finished on a lot of these builds, because that was like the main focus, what people see first. Then there's this here, which is Churches, a restaurant made by Aztaz. He still plays a little bit, but not as often as he used to. Then there's this here. And there's a couple other buildings here which don't have any interiors, but they still look really nice. There's these two buildings which are very high quality, made by BK. This was like closer to a year ago. He's really gotten better at building. And he's even better today. Especially in like 1-to-1 scale. These are still in the city, but in a different location. In the new city. And then there's this building made by Fritz, I believe. The inside was made by someone else, though. It's meant to be a bank. And then there's this building over here, which was originally made by... It was originally made by I think JJ around like a year. I think it was originally made by JJ like a year ago to 2 years ago, probably closer to 2 years ago, like a year and a half. And then it got remodeled by Oliver, and it looks really good. And there's a library inside. This library looks pretty nice, and there's even like some like tables here where you can like sit down and read books. And going along over here, we got this townhouse, which is home to kind of like I don't even really know what this is. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know what this is. Kind of just random stuff thrown together. But we got this, which is an old bar made by Thistle Mouse. It's still around. I think Thistle collaborated with someone else to make this, but I don't remember who. All I know is Thistle built this. He still plays fairly often. They started on the upstairs but didn't get done with it. There's a lot of incomplete interiors. And just a lot of incomplete buildings in general, especially prefabs, but still, they look pretty cool. And then there's this building here, this, fun fact, was actually the first ever townhouse I made back in, August of 2023, I believe? The first, good looking townhouse I ever built. But just a couple months ago, I revamped it to make it look better. I just added more details, like these trapdoors, fence gates, and I think the levers. I think the cornice is the same as it was, and the base as well. And then there's this. There's a specific kind of farm, I won't mention what it's called. And then down here there's like a whole thing. Which is pretty interesting. Yeah, back like last year, there used to be like a whole nother city down here, cause back in the day, there was a city down here, and it wasn't that good looking of a city, so I just nuked it and then built the new city on top of it back in October of 2023. So yeah. See, just some cool lore there. And then there's like a prison where the worst criminals get locked up. Somehow Bull the Ripper hasn't been caught yet. There's just a bunch of cell blocks. There's also like area for food, stuff like that. And then this keeps going. And the prisoners are treated pretty poorly here, as you can see. You just got their heads right here. Pretty disturbing place. And then going back up here, we will see the next building. We got these two over here, which were both made by me. We got Fun Central, which was made by a guy named Marley is Numb. He came and built like two things. Came from my YouTube streams, but he quit like basically like a couple days after for unknown reasons. But yeah, Fun Central is basically just a place to have fun. They sell ice cream too. And there's like arcades, a dance floor, and other stuff like that. And then there's a room for laser tag. There's this little apartment building, old building by BK. This was meant to be like an old fire station. It still has yet to have an interior. There's this, which was we had a restaurant here. I made this kind of like effect where like it looks like the building has blinds, using different colored wall blocks. And here's like a restaurant made by James. It looks very, very nice. Over here's another building. Only one of the two businesses have been filled with an interior. We have like a cool restaurant. And this was a pretty long building. Had like salad bar, kind of a buffet here. And stuff like that. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, we had billboards too. And of course we had Gemos. And then we had some people running away from who knows what. We had a good bit of street parking. There's some ducks on the river. There's a couple cool buildings here, but this one made by AJ. There's a really cool restaurant inside Starbucks. It's a pretty fancy Starbucks. And then these three buildings were all made by myself. Aztaz started making this into a Kmart, but never got finished with like the inside. There's this really cool building made by Pando. He quit the city. Well, he was around for a while and built some cool stuff, but you know, same with Fresi Nilo. He's got some cool stuff on here. And we got another build by AJ. This is a bookstore, which looks really nice. And then here we got a parking garage that I made. I actually made this during the 24-hour stream I did back in June. And there's a couple other buildings here, like this one, which they started interior, but it never got finished. And then these are a bunch of historic kind of buildings that I made with like mansard roofs. I made all of these during my 24-hour stream. We also filled in like this whole area during the 24-hour stream as well. Some cool stuff. I'm still proud of this one. It turned out really well. I didn't even use a reference. It turned out pretty good. Some other builds here. And then over here along the main road we have a lot of like 2 to 3 3 4-story townhouses. Most of which have no insides. A lot of newer builds and builds farther from spawn don't have insides yet. Just got some cool stuff on here. Here we got one made by Trias. We got a little restaurant sort of thing. Over here we got Ass Pizza, which is the restaurant chain I was talking about earlier. And they also collab with Robinson's Diner, as you saw from earlier. And then this was meant to be kind of like a news station, but never really got worked on. There's this building, which is like a store. Well, no, it's a restaurant. I'm stupid, but yeah. Pretty cool like restaurant slash like bar area. This looks really nice. Oliver built the inside of this. There were a lot of cool businesses in this city, which is what I really liked about it. And then this is a music studio that I made for a building competition. We got the band of Red Death performing here. We got drums here, we got a microphone there. He does the vocals. We got a guitar there. Or at least what was meant to be a guitar. And then we got some speakers at the corners. And then big like mirror. And then there's this big like dance floor. It's kind of like a dance music studio. And then and that door was like kind of a maintenance room thingy slash storage. The upstairs is fake. Over here we got offices. We got bathrooms, and up here we got offices. We just got a bunch of offices in this building, which goes all the way up to the top floor, which is here. But this is kind of like a meeting room slash like conference room kind of thing. Pretty cool stuff. We definitely need to focus on getting more interiors in my new city again, because well, that's really what makes the Minecraft city feel alive. And there's this little restaurant made by JR96, he cooked. There's this building I made. I kind of rust this building so it looks terrible. And yeah, there's all these, which pretty much all of them have fake insides. This one at least was started on, but it wasn't completed. There's also this one, which was being renovated, but progress got paused on that. And now let's go down this road. There's a lot of buildings that, there's a lot of cool buildings I made, like that one and that one. There's some cool stuff here. Most of it don't have interiors, except for this one. This one has like a full-on interior. I think this was like the one that had a working elevator. I think this might have been the one that originally had a working elevator, but yeah. We got a couple buildings over here. This interior was started but not finished. This is the building. This is a building that I was really proud of this building. I made it back in 2024. Or like close to the end of 2023. I'm still proud of this building to this day. It looks really nice. And then all the other buildings beside it are just buildings I rust to get this area filled up. Like I said earlier, this is a good looking city, but a lot of the builds were rust, so they look kind of mid. And I'm saying kind of because everyone has different opinions. And in just my opinion, I think the city was mid and it was due for a remake, so that's where we got today. We got some Victorian houses here. Pretty cool. Another like Victorian styled kind of apartment building. We got a lot of just copy and paste like apartment buildings. We got an alleyway. We got a bunch of townhouses over here. Most of which are used in the current city. We got this, which is, I actually don't know what building this is. I think this might have been the Kittens homeless shelter or something like that. And then this is Bazooka Barber, where you go to get your haircut. And then here we got like a place, kind of restaurant. Cat Cafe. And then this is the Bazooka Bar. Oh yeah, all of those apartments had full interiors as well. They're unfurnished, but they had full interiors. Every single one of those apartments that are copy-paste. And there's basically none on a lot of these townhouses, though. A lot of these were kind of put in from prefabs to try to fill the space in, so the scaling is kind of like is pretty off comparative to each other. There's an abandoned townhouse here. We got fire station made by Chaz, some buildings that Oliver really cooked on, and then some other ones I made back in the day. And over here, we have more townhomes. This is like the only one that has an interior on this street, but The inside is completely ruined because I originally built this on Pizenia and I bought it here. And Pizenia has like a bunch of mods, so yeah, that explains all those weird blocks. Here we got the Harry S. Truman Elementary School built by AJ Gamer. It still looks really nice to this day. Over here we have the high school. We got the Bazooka City High School, which was originally started by Drifty Mercury 83, but he stopped working on it, so I decided to finish it. And it's pretty big. Also looks really nice. And there's a lot of trees around here, because, you know, cities gotta have greenery. Otherwise air pollution goes through the roof. And this was the historic area. It was a huge work in progress, so that's why it seems like really unfinished. Yeah. The historic area was a really big work in progress, but there's a lot of cool houses here. Wait up. This is Pinecone's house. It's built like queso. No surprise there. This is BK. One of BK's old Victorian homes. It's still in the city. The new one. There's some really cool houses here. And then over here, we got this area, which is this is the first ever Victorian house I have ever made that looks good. This was made back in September of 2023, and I even have a video on it. And it's fully interiorized. Like, this is my signature house. There's like a small like movie theater because I didn't know what to do with the space. Really grand kind of hallway. Got a living room here with some chandeliers. Same with the dining room. Big chandelier in the dining room over the table. And then we got a kitchen. And then we got a bathroom. And then upstairs we have the bathroom straight off the stairs back. We got a kind of like a kid's bedroom. They all have closets too. We got two like equally sized bedrooms in the front. And then here's kind of like a sitting area. You can like read here and stuff like that. Pretty chill. Another bedroom. Over here is the master bedroom. And over here is the master bathroom. And in here we have a bowling alley at home. It's an actual bowling alley in the house on the top floor. And then the rest of the space we got a bedroom, a bathroom, we got another bedroom, and then we got this room, which the roof goes all the way up to that 4th story tower. It's that tower in front that goes up. And then there's a 3rd floor balcony, which can serve some really nice views, as you can see here. It's one of my favorite houses I've ever made. I built this one too. It looks pretty nice as well. And then here's a couple other Victorians I made back in the winter of 2024. They're all just facades though. And here's a Victorian house built by Trius. It's the only Victorian house he has ever made. And yeah. The door is faded, so that's that. Got living room, bathroom, got kitchen at the front of the house, and dining room, kind of an interesting layout. And then go up here, you got some shelves with plants above the window. Please don't ring, it's a little bit loud. Well, I rung the bell, what you gonna do about it? Here's a small bedroom. Then another bedroom. These bedrooms are pretty small, which is pretty weird for Victorian houses, because they're usually pretty big. And then here's the master bedroom. It has its own bathroom. And then here's a grandfather clock. And then here's a staircase to the attic, which is kind of annoying to go up. And then here we got subscribe to Bazooka Boluses on YouTube. You should definitely do that. And yeah, here we got an attic space. It's pretty simple attic space, gets the job done. And that's all that we have for the historic area. And that lands us in the back of the house. And now, let's head off to the suburbs, shall we? First though, we actually need to check out these townhouses here. Because I'm pretty sure they all have interiors. There's this one here that BK made. It's a pretty old townhouse by him. It looks really nice. And we got a clothing shop. Yeah, we got a clothing shop. Then over here we got a Subway. We got a very colorful inside. There's a new cookie foot long, which basically just involves speedrunning diabetes. And then here's Jamos, a restaurant chain. We got a lot of different stuff. Pretty cool. And then back here is like the bathrooms and an entrance to the upper floors, which are partially finished. They haven't been completed, but they've been worked on. These also have like pretty nice backyards too. We got parking back here. And we're back to the spawn part. We got Olane Cuts, which is another barbershop made by Maybe Me 56, I believe. Yeah. And yeah, you must like call them like before to get your cut, but yeah. We got like the actual stuff up here where you get your haircuts, and there's also a place where you can get waxed for those with hairy legs. And then there's this restaurant called HDMI. Like the cable you see with TVs. And it has a pretty interesting color palette. We got Bartopia, which is a thing JR96 made. I got another cool wallpaper design. An overall really cool bar. And then this kind of goes down into the back. And this is Kids Incorporated. It's kind of like an office building. You can rent out. Here's JR Wings, which is JR's fictional restaurant chain that sells chicken, kind of like a KFC competitor. And then there's a bathroom over here, at least what's supposed to be a bathroom. And over here we got Game Vault. Again, upstairs has not been completed. Over here we got, well, games. It's called Game Vault for a reason. They like these cool colors on the walls, with like rows of like orange and blue, stuff like that. Pretty cool place. And there's this that goes up to the upstairs. This place is pretty unusual because it actually has two staircases that goes up to the upstairs apartments, which is very interesting. And so we got suburbs. We have this house here. There's the backyards of those. There's this house here. We got a purple themed interior which is completely open concept, yet has a kitchen the size of my ball sack, very small. We got this little reading nook room thingy. We got a bedroom which is hooked up to a Jack and Jill bathroom, which is a bathroom that like hooks, which is like a bathroom that goes between two bedrooms, and it has like entrances from both bedrooms. And then here is another house, a house by Trius, full interior. It looks incredible, and it was griefed who knows when. And I mean griefed, like the floor is destroyed in a lot of places. We got a bathroom, and then we got a couple bedrooms. I'm gonna speed through a lot of these interiors because the video is already pretty long, so yeah. And there's this house. There's this house. Not really too much back here though. This house over here, IFOT Trius. Well, his house was originally here, but it got moved. Here that. And you got some other houses. My real life friend made this house 2 years ago. I don't think it was quite 2 years ago, but it was close. And then there's another row of suburban housing. That's a tutorial by New Freedom MC. If you don't know New Freedom MC, you should check out his content. He's pretty cool. There are a couple of his tutorial builds in the suburbs that someone else watched those tutorials and decided to build those. And that one too. We're kind of just gonna speed up for the suburbs because the suburbs are pretty basic. There's a lot of suburbs in the city, so I don't think you want to spend an hour just going through suburbs. So yeah. Oh yeah, we got a couple townhomes down here. There's this restaurant with, who knows what the name is. Apple Store. You buy Apple products for a comically large amount of money. Got a pharmacy, which is, it's just a fake interior, kind of trends. Clothing store. And here's another clothing store. Two clothing stores right next to each other. Now that's competition. And then we got another building with here. We got Bazooka Bowl Dentist, which is interesting. Here's an abandoned townhouse I made. Pretty cool. I actually like this. Like, this abandoned building is just cool. And I put a good amount of effort to make it look like a realistic abandoned building. I don't think I showed you guys the insides of these townhouses yet, so I'll show you them. There's not really much in here. Over here we got a restaurant of some sort. They haven't named it. And this is, yeah. And these are different kits, like poor business decisions, free money, the Lawbreaker kit, the Minecraft kit, the iPhone 99 probably will cost you about $1 million. 80s TV kit, 90s technology kit, the map kit. Some random guy made this. Pretty interesting. And then there's this. We got Willen's Cafe. This is the only building that Willen made on this city, but he absolutely cooked. We got bathrooms. We got some little table up there. And this bird is just random. There's this building here. Kind of a random building. And we got Wendy's. Open from 6 AM to 12 AM. And yeah, it does look kind of like a Wendy's, but it has exposed beams on the ceilings, which is a kind of nice touch. Down here we got a couple buildings, like this little restaurant here. It was originally made by some random guy, but I decided to kind of renovate the outside of it, so now the outside is better. It kind of looked more medieval before. There's another building there. We got kittens. And then this random building. And now we got another row of suburban houses with comically huge streetlights because of the street parking. You wanted to light up the whole street still. And yeah, there's a couple duplicate houses, but not a huge deal. There's another area. That area, this block of housing is a newer one, so it kind of, I kind of rushed a lot of the houses to fill in the space, and it doesn't have any custom trees yet or anything. Yeah, again, this old city was pretty rust, so that explains like why it doesn't look the best. And here's like housing, like smaller houses, and these smaller houses go for a long ways. Like the suburbs in this old city were huge. And so you get to see a cinematic for houses that goes for like a long time. There's a lot of different houses, from like 1-story to 2-story houses. There's a good amount of copy and pasted homes here, but there's still some good variety. And I wasn't kidding when I say these suburbs were huge. Because if you look at the above view, this is only like half of this neighborhood. Like, these suburbs were huge in the old city. We also went through a bunch of different roads. I probably updated the roads like 4 different times, just to get them to look good. And we got this street, which has a bunch of houses. I also have like new people that went onto the city, building in this neighborhood, so that's why some of the houses are really ugly. There was a park too, a huge park that I started, but never really finished. So yeah, that's that. Now there's a lot of different houses here. I used to use iron bars because they weren't as much of a pain as chains were for power lines. But now we use chains for power lines in the new city. And there's this house here. I gotta look at the inside just because it's actually good. We got kind of a dining area, a small kitchen. We got bathroom, and then a bedroom in the back. This is kind of a low income kind of house. Like something you'd see in like a low income neighborhood. So yeah, let's turn the ball for that street. And now let's go down this street. So yeah, pretty cool big suburbs. But there's a whole nother neighborhood that I still haven't showed you guys yet. And only then will we see the downtown. Because the downtown's huge as well. it would have even more suburban townhouses and stuff on the other side. So yeah, pretty long videos. I hope you guys enjoyed this really long video because these don't come out often. The thing I really liked about this old city was the power lines. Like, they were cool. I don't see a lot of Minecraft cities with above ground power lines. And now we're back onto the main road. And this kind of starts off the tour of that neighborhood. That neighborhood's pretty cool, so I'll show you guys it in a second. After we go down this main road. There's this elementary school there. There are some really cool houses in this urban neighborhood as well. I love the city because of the size, but I also hate the city because of how rushed it is. And like kind of low effort besides the builds, but like putting it all together. Some streetlights between those houses, which are kind of cool. There were a bunch of custom trees too. Not really on the streets, but like more on the backs of the houses. Because I didn't really have any like small custom tree designs back then. It was just the bigger ones. And you know how well it goes when you have trees and power lines touching each other. It ends very well. Totally. Yeah, there's some really cool stuff over here. Like, we also had like a police station and the fire station. And then there's that elementary school way over there. Some of these houses I built in my 24-hour stream as well. We had like 2 building competitions in this area to try to get it filled up. See, we got a lot of different like varieties of houses, but like this one was one of the ones I built to try to just rush buildings out. That's basically all I wanted to do in like the first half of 2025 is rush buildings out to make the city as big as possible. Which was a bad idea for obvious reasons. Here we got a one-way road that goes along the river. We got some bigger houses along this road as well. We got kind of a little park just to fill the space. There's a little diner which is interiorized. I think Thistle built the inside of this and I built the outside of it. And then some other stuff down here. And then the one-way road kind of leads out into this. We were starting to name the streets of this city, but it didn't really but we didn't really end up doing too much. We got this row of housing, it just goes all the way down. Some other weird houses here, because a couple new players also built here instead of the other neighborhood if they wanted to build a bigger house. And there's also a whole bunch of police cars here because Boulder Ripper caused another scene. Here we got like some other houses. And we also have a little park here. Because what else would I do with a triangular plot? There's a lot of land over there because we had a neighborhood competition which was supposed to be this really big building competition that I had over the summer, but it failed because everyone kept dropping out of the competition. Because like it was a really large scale building competition. You had to build like 90 houses within 3 months with a team of 3. I might try something like that again, but like with a team of, but like make the team sizes bigger. And maybe give like a smaller like goal as well. So yeah, here we got the Jordan Robert Extension Memorial Park in memory of Jordan Roberts, 1901 to 1943. Unfortunately, World War II got him. And now we are here for the downtown. We are finally here, the downtown of Bazooka City. We got a bunch of diagonal buildings, which I'm still proud of some of the ones I made. A lot of the other ones did not look very good though. This was back in the time when JR was kind of mid at building and not real good like he is today. Still solid stuff though. And then we got the Wisconsin Tower made by BK. One of the oldest towers he's made in Bazooka City, and it still looks incredible. There's this little movie ad, and here is a job application. You should get one of those. We got a huge park over here in front of the Philadelphia City Hall, which is still in Bazooka City to this day. I spent around 2 weeks building it, and it turned out really cool. We got some other buildings. A lot of like mid-rise buildings over here. And there's this place, which is like a cool like outdoor restaurant kind of thing. We got a really cool drawbridge made by Scrap Fox here. There's the Cloud9 Tower, and there's this, which is the United States Consulate. Which doesn't make sense because Bazooka City is in America, but I guess the guy that built that didn't really know that at the time. There's a couple townhomes that started to get formed up here. Zella does stuff. He started building stuff here, but never got really completed with those. there's a bunch of stuff here that Cartel made. He came back recently, but quit again. We got this really nice kind of construction site. It looks awesome. There's this tower which looks really mid because the ice windows, but this little fan dug into the ground is kind of cool. This, front of this building is pretty cool as well. We got this building Oliver made. It still looks really nice. Some other builds along here, high-rise buildings. Not a single skyscraper in Bazooka City has interiors though, so we're not gonna look at those. We have a construction site built by Owens Boy. He had one before this one, but he decided to upgrade it. High-rise, I made this a while back. Actually, not that long ago. It was only maybe 3-4 months ago. And now we got the masterpiece of the room, which are these skyscrapers that make up the main skyline, which they all look incredible. It makes for a really nice skyline. There's a bunch of different. There's a bunch of different builds. Me and Trias built a lot of these mid-rise buildings. They still look pretty nice. And then Dean Man built this Pasadena Bank, however you pronounce it. It's a modern kind of bank that got torn down not too long ago. In real life, check it out. This line of builds, there's a lot of just lines of mid-rise and high-rise buildings around in this part of the downtown. There's this building which I like. I like it. I'm still really proud of this build. It's detailed well. Also, this building from St. Louis. And then there's this building, which is unfinished. But in the new city, it's there and finished. And there's also this glass bottom building and this one as well. And over here is the start of the Bazooka City football stadium, which still isn't finished to this day. I plan on finishing it soon though. I'm very proud of how the field turned out. And there's that hotel made by BK back in 2023. Still looks really nice. Over here we have a parking garage made by John Stephen. The only build he's made, but it looks nice. Here we got some townhomes. A lot of low-rise and mid-rise townhomes. Some of them don't look very good, but they're here. They were here to try to fill up the space. There's also some builds here. And this thing here, it looks like a stadium, but it's actually a movie theater. Because if you look inside, it's a movie theater. A really fancy movie theater. It's pretty cool. Probably one of the cooler builds in Bazooka City. This was the start of another construction site by Rex Averate 2. It's that one squeaker that you sometimes hear in streams. Yeah, that's him. Over here we have a building for a bunch of businesses built by Thistle Mouse 71. Pretty cool. And over here was a failed project. There was gonna be like a low income kind of neighborhood in this whole area. But eventually that didn't end up going through. Like, I just built a bunch and then got bored of it, so it never really got any more progress. So yeah, that's that. Also another house by Pinecone that actually looks good. And we have a couple more high-rise buildings. Like that one over there. We just got like the backs of a bunch of high-rise buildings. It's pretty cool. And now we get to look at the last area of Bazooka City. The actual Bazooka City world itself. The actual city itself. There's this townhouse area. It was part of an old neighborhood building competition. The one I was talking about earlier that failed, so none of these areas are really finished. Over here there's some stuff too. This was another team that made the neighborhood competition. This was not Oliver Bob. He absolutely cooked on these houses, as you can tell. I do plan to bring these back to the new city eventually. Yeah, let's get another kind of look at some of these townhouses that are here. Some of them are pretty rust, and some of them weren't. You can tell which ones. I finished some of these townhouses after the competition ended up failing. Sinzilla was cooking though. He was making a lot of buildings. And there's those, and now we got this area where JR was in the neighborhood competition. He was basically building solo except for Devin, who built like 3 houses over there. He mainly did townhomes that are over here. Pretty cool. There's a school there's a couple more townhomes here. And there's these two houses that I made after the competition failed. I worked on these two. And then Kara Unos made these two houses. And then there's Devin Riley, who built that ugly sandstone city. These three houses are his. Over here we got a bunch of signs that say Devin Riley is bald, which is a very true statement. But the houses themselves look fairly nice. Obviously they could use wood, but they look fairly nice. And then I had a different building competition where you had to build a full block of housing. So Dippo tried to solo the competition, and it went horribly because he only did like 7 of the houses, but he was doing them on a separate road to bring in here. So, and there's only one that he actually built in the city itself. So this was the only plot that actually got like completely filled. Thistle Mouse and JR was teaming up. And these were 1-story houses. It was a building competition strictly for 1-story houses. A lot of these houses have the same kind of color palette, but they still look extremely good. And then over here, we got one singular house, because Alpha Hippo Gamer also thought it was a good idea to go solo. And that was a rookie mistake because he only ended up building one house. And it's not even a 1-story house either, it's a 2-story. Well, technically it's a 1.5 story, but you get the point. Superstar Dre also went solo. At least he made some more progress. Some actually pretty nice houses. And then here we got AJ Gamer and Dipolar Stage. They built some houses. They both have like very different paces of building. Like AJ only built 1 and Dipolar built like the other 6 houses. Well, 7 houses actually. Dipolar kind of had some weird window designs. His houses were kind of like a hit or a miss most of the time. Like this house was a hit. And probably the same with that house. In this house. In this house, but like But the one over here was kind of a miss because of the window designs. And so that's all that there is as far as in the main city goes. There is still one more area to check out though. And we have the commercial area, which I kind of forgot about, but it's pretty big. We got the highway there. There's a lot of different stores and restaurants in this area. We got a fully interiorized Waffle House with a bathroom and in the main restaurant itself. Pretty cool. Waffle House is pretty tasty. There were a couple side cities that were being worked on too. There were like 2 side cities that were being worked on, or at least started. Because this Pinecone tried to build Pizenia and Bazooka City, and we still have his builds in here to do so, but he just didn't really commit to working on it, so it kind of failed. But his builds are still there. There was another side city though that I gotta show you guys. It was a bit better built up than Pizenia though. Because if you just keep on going over here for a long ways, you will eventually run into Rosaria. Which is a small town that is off Bazooka City. It was kind of being renovated at the time of that Bazooka City moved over to Urban Wonders, so there's all of these builds are kind of just out here. We got some other stuff like Rosaria Postal, some cool 1-story buildings. BK's Movie Theater in some of my builds. And there's that. But there's a bunch of builds off to the side here that JR and Dipolar have built over time. Some of these I've built as well. Even Pinecone built one. Because it was kind of out of scale though. We had the Waffle House and another restaurant as well. There's some other restaurants and townhouses down here on the floor as well. As well as tree designs. So yeah, chat, that is the main city. That is Bazooka City. That's the actual Bazooka City itself, plus all of the side cities. So if you liked in this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and see ya.